another Tom, Dick, or Dave. These are our frenzy faves.
Today, our Frenzy Faves is a favorite Twilight Zone episode. Here we go.
Yeah, tell us about the episode we're looking at today.
Well, Professor, today we're looking at an episode entitled, Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? This is from Season 2. It's episode 28. It was directed by Montgomery Pittman. It was written by the great Rod Serling. Its original air date was May 26, 1961. For our cast, we have John Hoyt as Ross, the businessman. We have Gene Wills as Ethel McConnell, the dancer. Jack Elam as Avery, the crazy man. Barney Phillips as Haley, the cook. John Archer as Trooper Bill Paget, William Kendis as Olmsted, the bus driver, Morgan Jones as Trooper Dan Perry, Gertrude Flynn as Ross Kramer, the older wife, Bill Irwin as Peter Kramer, the older husband, Jill Ellis as Connie Price, the younger wife, and we have Ron Kipling as George Price, the younger husband. Professor, I am dying to talk about this one. What happens in this episode?
Yeah. So a call has come into the police. Something has crashed into a local pond. 2 troopers take the call during a snowstorm. They don't find a craft, but they do find the tops of the trees are broken, and there are footprints in the snow leading away from the pond towards a diner. The troopers follow the footprints to the diner and see that a bus has stopped and the passengers are inside the diner. The troopers ask the bus driver, well, how many people are in the bus? And he says 6, but there are 7 passengers inside. And there's an older couple, a young newlywed couple, a lady dancer, a businessman, the driver, and crazy Jack Elam. They asked the diner counterman if anybody else came into the diner. Nope, just the bus folks. And the driver doesn't remember which of these people were on the bus. Who was the extra person? Could this extra person be from the UFO that crashed into the pond? Maybe they're from Mars, but which person is it? So they decide to eliminate the couples because they presumably knew each other and there was only one set of footprints. But do the couples really know each other? Didn't you used to have a mole on your chin? Interesting. The driver remembers that the lady dancer was on the bus because, ba 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 boom, she's sexy. So of course he remembers her. Doesn't remember anybody else though. Now, we find out that the bridge is out ahead, so the bus is stuck there until the morning when the bridge is going to be safe, presumably. So the cops stay and kind of watch everybody to find which one is the stranger. Which one of these people in the diner is from Mars? We see the lights periodically go off and on, and sugar bowls explode, just to add to the excitement. In addition, the jukebox starts up and stops. The phone rings eventually come the morning. It is the town engineer. The bridge is okay to cross. The bus folks get back on the bus and it leaves. Later, the businessman Ross comes back to the diner. It turns out that the phone call was just an illusion, like the jukebox and the lights flashing. The bus crashed into the drink because the bridge couldn't take it. The engineer really didn't call. But then the diner, the guy behind the diner says, well, why aren't you wet? Ross isn't sure. What does wet mean? Also, he has 3 arms. And he tells the diner counter guy, I'm from Mars. I'm an advanced scout, and my pals are coming hot on my heels so we can colonize Earth. This is a nice place for it. The counterman agrees. Yes, this is a good place to start to colonize the Earth from. And he removes his cook's hat. And it turns out he has 3 eyes, and he's from Venus. Turns out the Venusians have stopped the Martians from coming to Earth because they're colonizing the Earth too. Dun, dun, dun. I like this episode. I tried to think about it, and that kind of was not a great idea. But just the whole vibe of it, with this kind of a bottle episode, like a whodunit. It's just really cool. Which one of these people could be the Martian? Jack Elam is so good in this. He's so unhinged. I loved seeing him. It was a really needed bit of comedy in a very kind of little dark show. And John Hoyt, I think he's both of him, Elam and Hoyt, are both past that guys, and they are both excellent. My one question, and Chris, maybe, you have some insider. The one thing that I felt was a little false was when Ross came back and just fessed up. Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm a Martian. I have 3 hands. I'm going to use, one hand to hold the menu, one hand to hold my cigarette, and the other hand to light my cigarette. Why did he fess up like that? I thought that was a little odd, but he did. So, Chris, I'd love to hear your ideas on Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up?
Thanks, Prof. Yeah, that's one thing that didn't cross my mind, but a couple of other things did. As someone who's seen this episode a lot, and it is one of my favorites, but just some minor quibbles. I think, aliens aside, we as viewers are asked a couple of things that we must buy. One, none of the 6 passengers, okay, there's only 6. None of these 6 would notice an extra passenger. Yeah. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. Now, yes, it was dark. And yes, the episode does spend some time dissecting that. So, okay. And then the second thing, Ross not knowing what, quote, wet was. I'm thinking he knows about Boston. And I have to think, there are water on other planets, so you'd have to know, he doesn't know what wet is, but he's good with these allusions. So with respect to that, so Professor, I applaud you. I think the episode had some nice touches. It referenced the then past World Series with the Pittsburgh Pirates winning. They mentioned Ray Bradbury. Sorry, Prof. Mazeroski had his moment there. I know. Terrible for the Yankees fans. I'm sorry. Ray Bradbury gets a little bit of a nod mention too, which Robin of the Mascot Show wanted to make sure I pointed out. Good touch there, giving a little bit of a nod. I think it's a great episode, though. It's a lot of fun. Just to get some trivia out of the way before I forget, though, William Kendis, who played the bus driver, might look familiar. He was also in the Twilight Zone episode The Fever. John Hoyt also appeared in the Twilight Zone episode The Lateness of the Hour. Barney Phillips. I first saw him in an episode of The Andy Griffith Show where it was entitled Barney Gets His Man, where Barney doesn't know that Phillips is an escaped con, and he basically arrests him just for littering, but little does he know that he's this escaped con, and a fight ensues, and with a scowl, and you'd really see, it's hard to see, I thought Barney Phillips was this mean guy, but he's so good-natured in everything else that he does. He says, "I'll get you for this, deputy," and Barney just jerks back like, oh, he's like really afraid of this guy. Classic episode. But doing some research too, we talk about actors who have appeared in multiple Twilight Zones. Barney Phillips, little do we think about him, because this was one of 4 appearances by Barney Phillips. He also appeared in the Purple Testament. He was a repairman in a thing about machines. He was in this episode and another episode called Miniature. So when we think about actors who've done multiple Twilight Zones, or 4 being like no more than 4, don't forget Barney Phillips for those people into trivia. If you're looking to see Barney Phillips in color, he also did an episode of Adam 12 too, where he played a desk sergeant. Really good stuff there. Jack Elam is always fun. It's kind of weird to see Jack Elam in this role, because I always think of him in westerns. I mean, he is always popping up in a western, and it's just so good just to see that cackle and just the way he relishes this part. He is just so over the top as this guy, where he sort of becomes the attractive model woman, the dancer, thinks he's funny at first, but then it starts to wear on her a little bit, and then the bus driver thinks he's funny, but then when he questions if the bus driver could possibly be the alien, that's where it stops short. When he starts pointing things out, and all the while you think, could Elam be the alien, because he's got some knowledge of things, but with respect to this, but if you watch the episode carefully, it almost seems like Elam, not Elam, but Hoyt knows when things are about to happen before they do. A little bit. It was something of a tell. I don't know if it's me or just having watched it numerous times, that he's one who doesn't seem fazed by anything that's going on a little bit there. He's almost a little too calm, I think. And I think that was sort of a tell. So, but how cool was the twist, though? Because all of a sudden, without saying anything, you see Hoyt and he's got 3 arms. And to maneuver those arms, realistically, had to be a chore. And I don't know how they did it to this day to make it look as real as it did. It was really, really cool. But then you see Phillips pull up his cap, and there's the eye all along. I mean, you got the double twist. How cool is that? I mean, yeah, and you just wonder, as a little kid, I saw it and I loved it, and I just wondered where would this episode go from here if they continued on, would we have this battle between the Martians and the Venusians and all this? I wanted more, but then you look at it and it's just this great slice of life and this exchange between these 2 aliens, and just the way Phillips is laughing at Hoyt's predicament at the end of this is just turning the screw, and he's loving it. Just like, I really think this is a fun episode. It's one of my favorites. I have to put it in the top 10. I don't know where I'd rank it all together though, because all the Twilight Zones are really, really great, but this was a fun episode, I thought.
I agree. I had a blast watching. I've seen this one before.
Okay.
Several times, yeah.
I thought
that was a good one.
I thought the cast was great. Even the state troopers were really good. They're really authoritative, and I like the way they delivered their lines. Great cast. Yeah, let's talk about the casting of Twilight Zone. I mean, just so many episodes, you just can't think of anybody else who would have done these roles better for what they were asked of and how they were executed. This was well directed, and everybody who even had a little part or a little bit more to do, everybody was perfect in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've gone through a lot of those that guys, and some of these guys have been in a bunch of Twilight Zones, and Burgess Meredith is a great example. When I was at the end of this one, Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? They always have at the end of the episode, Rod Serling comes out and says, what's going to happen next week? And next week is going to be a Burgess Meredith one. And it's just really cool seeing all that and seeing the quality of talent they were able to get on these episodes. Just amazing work.
Yeah, and I like the little detail, too, where Serling comes out and it's snowing, and there's always this little flake that falls right on his head. I just love how that, just to give it that authenticity, just like he's really out there and not in some studio. It's snowing where he is, and there's this little bit of snow that just lands right on the center of the top of his head. I always thought that was kind of classic. I just like how they pulled that off. Nice job, Rod.
All right, so this is one of our favorite Twilight Zone episodes.
Just another